Alright guys, I'm back with another Pride Month manga ramble for all of you. And this one was actually very interesting. And you'll notice how I can't exactly put an author name here, because of the fact that this is actually an anthology series. But, all in all, I do recommend this one. But let me give you my honest thoughts on it first. So if I'm going to be completely honest, I did not know what to expect with this series at all. Like, what fascinated me at first was that it was a manga anthology series, which is something you rarely ever see. But after reading Donuts Under a Crescent Moon, I was in the mood for a bit more of wholesome romance, and this one definitely seemed to have that wholesomeness to it. So I started off with Volume 1, and essentially Volume 1 covers the working woman's romance. And I gotta say, I actually enjoyed every single story in there. Hell, Volume 1 to this day of the series stands as one of the best out of the bunch, just because of the sheer wholesomeness of romances and the sheer variety of story that is represented here. You have some that were comedic, some that were just plain fun to read, and some that actually touches your heart in one way or another. Now as for Volumes 3 and 4, those ones essentially focused on the one-night stands or the first night between lovers. And yes, it is exactly what you think, but the way they went around it made it seem more wholesome and sweet anyways. It's not like two lovers just getting the screw, it's essentially just two lovers, well, making love. But in all honesty, this one definitely pulled it off with a sweetness to it. Hence the name, syrup. Seriously, if you do not have like diabetes by the end of this one, I don't know what the heck's wrong with you. But there is one manga volume of this series that I'd recommend skipping, and it's probably number 2. I have not read number 2, simply because it dives into that forbidden romance style of writing, which to me is a big no-no. I'm not up for that forbidden romance angle, no thank you. But if I were to complain about one small thing, it'd be that there's not more stories centered around like Volume 1 with the working woman story. But I will say that some highlights of this whole series, one of them I believe was in fact a young woman going to a family member's funeral with her old family in her small town, and essentially she is flat out given so much grief by her relatives for one reason or another before finally getting home and reuniting with her lover. And it is honestly just wholesome to read that entire sequence. I mean, seriously. Y'all can't tell, but I'm actually starting to grin just thinking about it. But other stories like this are very, very sweet. That's all I can really think of, is just it's a very sweet anthology series, which is a rarity in and of itself. The fact that it was yuri was just a bonus. There are others that I have seen, but this one just stands out a lot to me, and this is one of the more wholesome romance series that I have seen. But I really can't comprehend or just bring into words exactly the emotions that this whole series brought to me, but I will say check it out for yourselves. I would say give it a chance wholeheartedly if you're in the mood for some sweethearted romance, but again I will warn you, skip Volume 2 unless you're into that whole forbidden romance sequence. I am not, but I will leave that up to you all to decide. Anyways, let's get on to the score, shall we? So my overall score for this series would definitely be a solid 8 out of 10. Just because of the sheer sweetness of it, the variety of short stories, as well as seeing unique manga artists, but also just because it's a nice little sweet romance. Though I had to lower the score a bit just because I don't really like that forbidden romance angle, but also because really it's a mixed bag for anyone. There are some stories that were just like meh, others that were very wholesome, put a smile on my face, and others that just left me laughing to my heart's content. Anyways, you guys, if you did like this review, feel free to leave a comment down below, and if you have any other suggestions before the end of Pride Month, please let me know, as I will happily review them. And this is number 2 of the Pride Month reviews, and there will be more on the way before the end of this month. Anyways, you guys, Thank you so much for listening. Have an amazing day. This is Rambling Collector, signing off.